Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, then welcome. My name is Allie and we will cover a lot in this video, all holiday themed. So we're going to start by doing some thrifting and antiquing. We're going to do a little bit of DIYs for the holidays, and we're going to do a whole lot of decorating and styling. So to start out, I visited my local antique shop and they have so many beautiful items for the holidays. So these are great places to go, whether you are hosting a large crowd or you just want to add little touches to your kitchen area or your main living space for the holidays. So much inspiration here, and I love all of the handcrafted items that I came across in my local antique shop. They had a lot of those nostalgic inspired items, like these trees. Gosh, $139. I remember these trees from my grandmother's house, and I think my mom might have some, so I might have to go digging at my mom's. But this gingerbread house was absolutely adorable. If I didn't have one already, I would certainly be adding it to my collection because it's just so charming and sweet. Visiting places like this is also amazing to find glass storage jars, things that you can just add to your kitchen. I absolutely loved this sweet little hurricane that said joy on it. It actually came in a set of two. They did have a lot of brass items, and I personally love brass for the holidays, so if you're looking to round out your brass collection or just add in a little pop of that style, definitely head to your local antique shop. I love finding antique bowls like this. These vintage bowls are great for holiday styling, but also long after the holidays. My antique shop also had a lot of really beautiful glass items, and I think that that glass snowman would just be gorgeous on a server. If you're in the market for vintage plates, or if you collect plates like this, an antique market is always a great place to peruse. You are going to find so many amazing items here. They also had a lot of really beautiful silver, and I love those deer with the antlers. I also came across this really interesting vintage collection of ornaments. These are called the Memories of Santa. It's an authentic collection. They're reproductions from antiques, but they're all just super interesting, and all the Santas are from different time periods. They have different colors. Some are more classic. I've never seen anything like these before, and I just thought that they would be a beautiful collection to have on your tree. And I just find so much inspiration when I go antiquing and thrifting. Even if I leave without making any purchases, there's just so much to look at that it makes me reevaluate my own collections at home. I look how things are styled, and it just gives me new ideas to use items that I already have. Another one of my favorite things to do is to go to the antique shop first and then head to my local thrift shop. So I visited my nearby Habitat for Humanity because usually antiquing gives me a lot of ideas. It refreshes my eye for certain pieces. And then sometimes you can find something very similar at the thrift shop for literally a fraction of the cost. My thrift shop had a lot of Christmas items. If you guys watch my previous videos, you know that I have an entire Christmas village in our bookcases, and they actually did have pieces of the village at my local Habitat. Now, some of them are the authentic Department 56, but some of them are not. So I might have to buy that Department 56 butcher shop because it would just be a great way to round out my collection. It's also a great place to come if you're entertaining. They have all sorts of glassware and ramekins for really inexpensive prices, and then other decorative pieces that you can use to just round out your decor. This is something that I always like to do after I've already decorated for Christmas because it's hard to come here beforehand, before you've seen what you have. I tend to forget a lot of the pieces that I have. So I get all my stuff out first, and then I see if I need to come here and then purchase anything to round out my collection, like maybe a Christmas tree with some ornaments or decorating things for the village. I'm also getting into Christmas wrapping mode, so it's a great place to come for ribbons and other accessories, things that you can use on your Christmas gifts. Perusing the cookbooks in stores like these It's one of my favorite things to do because there's just something that's so nostalgic about flipping through these old recipes. I love collecting recipes and recipe books like this. Even if I don't get to making them all, I feel like I'm going on a treasure hunt and I'm just finding really special things. It reminds me of my great aunt Carol and her old recipe books, some of which I have. We're back at home now, and one of the pieces that I picked up while antiquing was this beautiful brass reindeer candle holder. I think that it's just so adorable. It's a great size. It will just accent my current decor really well. I was so excited to find it. So I went ahead to make a very basic brass cleaning solution, and it's just some vinegar, some salt, and some flour to make a paste. I took that little ribbon that was on the reindeer off because it was a little old, a little raggedy, and after I clean it, I'll reattach a brand new ribbon and just really spruce it up and make it look nice. So this cleaning method is something that I found from a Martha Stewart magazine years ago. It's just a very gentle but effective brass cleaning agent that you can do at home. So once I dried off the reindeer, I reattached a beautiful burgundy ribbon. Again, this is just a little bit more special, a little bit more upgraded, and I think that it makes the reindeer really pop.
All year long I've been keeping track of when I've been naughty and nice.
One of the areas that I wanted to spruce up in our home is a little corner of our guest room. Now, this is going to be a DIY for a book tree. This is something that I saw several years ago. I always wanted to do it, and I just never really had the right amount of books or the right space for it. So if you watched one of my previous videos, I did Christmas in our master bedroom. And in that video, I removed our bookshelf and I added in an antique table that was built by my great uncle. And because I moved the bookshelf, I had all these extra books. So I thought it would be a great idea to create this DIY book tree. It's not something I've ever done before, so I'm kind of winging it here. But all I'm doing is I created a base by just fanning out my books with the spines facing in. And I think it's important to have the spines facing in because that's what's going to make your tree look more cohesive once it's all finished and lit up. The main thing here is that you really just want to have all of your layers be as level as possible. So I'm swapping out books just to make sure that they are even, and it doesn't need to be perfect, but if you don't have them pretty level, then once you get to the top like this, it might look like it's leaning. So once I got to the top of mine here, I'm just adding in the leftover books that I have. And then I was gifted this book several years ago, and it spells out live with the pages. I just thought that it was a really cool decorative accent, and it would serve really nicely at the top of the tree.
All the deeds that I've told lies. I can only hope that Santa Claus and
now I'm just adding in some decorative accents to the spaces around the book tree. So again, this is our guest room, so I have a chest here full of blankets, and then on top of it I added a couple of my topiary trees, and into this little basket I have an extra blanket, I have another little topiary tree, and some magazines. I thought it'd be nice to have a little candle moment down here, so I have my wooden tray, and I'm just adding in a few sprigs that I had left over into the tray with a couple of pine cones. This just adds a really nice soft glimmer at night. And I have this Fraser fir incense. This incense smells absolutely amazing. It has the perfect holiday scent for a guest room. I'm finishing off the shelf styling with one of my great aunt Carol's stitchworks. She made one for every season, so one of my favorite things to do each season is to switch it out, and it completes that corner perfectly. Now onto the server in our guest room. I have this little set of felt trees. I picked these up when I was in Asheville a few years ago, along with these really adorable felt set of deer. And I always like creating a little moment out of these on a tray. I always like to string some lights around it. I just think that it makes a really charming accent.
my records agree.
The last thing I wanted to do in our guest room to refresh the space for the holidays is to swap out the prints in our gallery wall frames. I created this gallery wall last year and I purchased these frames off of Etsy last year. I have a step-by-step video that I created on how to do this, how to source prints, how to print them out. It's one of my favorite things to do, and it's such an easy way to refresh a space and give it a nice upgrade without having to do a major overhaul. And bringing back these holiday prints is just one of my favorite things to do. They're so beautiful, and I think that they just upgrade the gallery wall. They just add that warm holiday touch. I enjoy them, and I know that my guests will as well.
This year Santa's coming home to me. I have found the perfect tree and dressed it to the nines.
For some cozy finishing touches, I added in a pair of these warm Christmas little socks, and then I tied some beautiful burgundy ribbons to the wall sconce candle holders in this space. This next DIY I'll be sharing is a horse wreath. So I picked up this square of greenery from Hobby Lobby, and we're going to use that as the base of our wreath. You'll need some scissors, a glue gun, and a few different sprigs of greenery. I like to use two different kinds, so I have that lighter color and the darker color. I'll be using that little sprig of berries along with some of those bows that I'll be taking apart. So I'm kind of showing you where I'll be tracing out the base of the horse. So this is the head of the horse. I just had the ears that I shared with you on top, and then I'll come down the right side to create the neck. So you can pull up a simple picture of a horse online. That's what I did. I had a picture pulled up on my computer, and I was just kind of going back and forth and sort of tracing out how this would look. It doesn't need to be 100% accurate. They do have templates online if you want to purchase them off of Etsy, but I find if you just freehand it, you can then correct it later. So in this case, I wanted larger ears. So I went back to my square of greenery and I just cut out two larger triangles, and I went ahead and hot glued them to the top so that it made larger ears and it looked a little bit more correct. Now that we have the shape, it was time for me to start layering in some greenery. So I'm going to start by hot gluing some of these pieces toward the inside of the horse. Now on the outside, that's where I'm going to bring in that other greenery to make the horse's mane. So right now I'm just filling in the area on the inside. And I really like this juniper berry greenery. It just adds a really nice holiday touch. It's all one color, and I think it does a nice job blending in with the greenery below it. This horse wreath would make an excellent gift for anyone who you know who maybe rides horses or just loves them. My daughter's an equestrian. She just got into jumping this year. She's been riding for the past 5 years. She is obsessed with horses, so I thought that this would be really fitting for our family. But like I said, this is also a great gift to give. So now I'm going to start working on the mane of the horse. And this wispy greenery that I picked up from Hobby Lobby, I love it. I think it's perfect for the horse's mane. I love how it has a different variation of green. So I went ahead and started layering those in. I'm placing them first. I wanted to get the forelock right, which is that little choof of hair in the front there. And now I'm just using my glue gun so that I can secure everything into place. Once that part was finished, I flipped my wreath over, and this is where I'm going to start making the halter. So I took apart some of those burgundy ribbons, and I'm just using strips of them to create the halter. So that's one line across at the bottom, one line across behind the ears. And then I'm going to be taking another piece of that ribbon and just going straight across the center to connect them. This just makes it look more realistic and adds that really pretty pop of red. So I took 2 of these little berries off of that gold sprig, and I'm just using them to accent the halter. You can really get as creative as you want here. You can use poinsettias, you can use other decorative accents, but whatever you do, just make it yours. You really can't go wrong. So this is the finished product of the horse wreath, and I love how it turned out. And the boxwood grid on the back of the horse wreath makes it super easy to hang on your front door. One of the things that I added to our master bedroom is this skinny pencil tree. This is only a 4-foot tree that I picked up from Amazon, and I popped it into one of my ceramic planters, and I think that it just made our master bedroom just have such a really beautiful glow, and I love it. And the one thing that was missing were classic round ball ornaments. And these were the box of ornaments that I thrifted when I was at Habitat for Humanity. So I added just some more of those ribbons. It created such a cozy festive corner, and it was very cost effective, and I love how it turned out. Lastly, another thrifted item that I grabbed from Habitat for Humanity. If you've seen my bookshelf, you know that I could not leave that classic butcher shop from the Village Collection, Department 56. And because we already have our Village hooked up in our bookcases, I had a free little bulb here, and I added the butcher shop to the bottom. And I love collecting these pieces. I think they are just so beautiful. I will link the full bookshelf transformation down below in the description box, but here is just another look at our Village in our bookcases. I hope that you enjoyed coming with me today while we did some thrifting, some DIYing, a little bit of styling. I hope you were able to get a lot of inspiration for your own holiday decorating. I really appreciate you spending time with me today on YouTube. I would love to hear what you think, so please leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this video, maybe what you liked best. Hit that like button if you did enjoy it. It's a free way to support my channel, and I really appreciate it. Thanks again so much for being here, and I will see you next time. Take care.